Joining us now to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Arise News analyst Emmanuel Efeni, the great Malabite. Good morning.
Good morning, Ruben. Good morning, Ayo.
Good morning.
Good morning, Rufai.
Bless you.
Yes, we start the review with this day, Nigeria's newspaper of record. The lead story, World Bank. 4 million more Nigerians pushed into poverty in first six months of 2023. 7.1 million more to join if subsidy removal is not properly managed. 6 new social compact to protect poor and most vulnerable. Savings from subsidy removal to surpass 11 trillion naira by 2025. Explains fresh $500 million for Nigeria. Ochi Makinde Imokwede profile perspectives on sustainable post-subsidy management. Edu, government stakeholders working on palliatives. Yes, from the reports, the World Bank reports on Nigeria, clearly the last 6 months of the Buhari administration, more Nigerians went into the poverty. Yet this was a government that proposed to move 10 million Nigerians out of poverty every year. But the jury is out. We know better that the last days of President Buhari in power, more Nigerians were pushed into the poverty bracket. But if that is to be in the past, what is to come is what should concern all of us. 7.1 million Nigerians more to join if subsidy removal is not properly managed. And it has been said over and again that, yes, the government did not do the needful, government of the day, government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, but courage was the watchword to announce removal of fuel subsidy on inauguration day. Now, courage, the easy part. The hard part is to ensure that Nigerians don't continue to slip into the poverty bracket, more and more Nigerians, because it is clear with the removal of fuel subsidy, with the harmonization of the parallel and the I and E markets of the foreign exchange. Of course, the naira in our pocket has since lost value. The inflationary trend has not abated. And of course, Nigerians are crying. The Guardian newspaper reporting this story, inflation and subsidy removal, 7.4 million Nigerians may become poorer as families face 5,700 naira monthly loss. Nigeria's multidimensional poverty index by state. Of course, there's a graph there going state by state, which the Guardian has done. Now, the Punch newspaper also reporting the story, subsidy removal. Poor Nigerians will hit 101 million without palliatives. World Bank. Governors, IMF back subsidy removal. Demand cash transfer scheme for poor Nigerians. CBN measures failed to tackle inflation in first 6 months of 2023. World Bank insists. Of course, below the photographs, the front page of the Punch newspaper, Tinubu can governors preach tolerance at Sallah. Yes, we need tolerance. Tolerance is a virtue which peoples of all religions must convert. And it's not just the preaching of it, but putting into practice. Because Nigeria is a multi-religious state. And as such, nobody should die because of what he believes. And it behoves the government of the day at the federal and the subnational levels to ensure that when things go awry and people are killed because of their beliefs of what they preach, people must be made to face the law. So on a day like this, when our Muslim brothers are celebrating and religious leaders, political leaders are preaching the virtue of tolerance. I think it's a message that should be well taken by one and all. Now, the Vanguard newspaper used subsidy savings to lessen sufferings. World Bank tells federal government, says additional 7.1 million naira will slip into poverty. Now, approves fresh 500 million naira loan for Nigeria. World Bank plans additional $750 million grant for Nigeria's electrification project. How this money are deployed is what will make the difference. We have seen in the past where governments talk about cash transfer, trader money, and you only see that on the eve of election. After election, everything will just go quiet, as if nobody needs money after election. But this time around, Nigerians will pay attention to how this government will spend that $800 million already approved and another $500 million loan that has been approved for Nigeria. Now, New Telegraph newspaper, Idel Kabir, Nigerians have almost lost hope. Arewa Consultative Forum cries out, calls on stakeholders to restore public confidence in governance. Tinubu enjoins Muslims to support the weak, vulnerable. Ex-President Akpabio, Abbas, Atiku, SGF, Musa, Obi, governors, others felicitate with Muslim as Kalu harps on national unity. Nigeria can achieve her full potential if the Daily Trust newspaper, Idel Kabir, economic, security challenges surmountable. Tinubu, Akpabio, Abbas, others preach peace. Of course, that is also the story in the front page of the Nation newspaper, Idel Kabir. Our challenges, nation, our challenges surmountable. Tinubu assures. Now, this Daily Sun newspaper, Akpabio's choice of aides. Northern senators grumble, accuses Senate president of snubbing region in selection of personal staff. In terms of personal staff, Ruben, you see why somebody was trying to have 22 legislative aides, 33, perhaps in order to satisfy every region, every state. But I don't think there's a constitutional requirement for that. I know Akpabio's chief of staff is from the southeast, and he cannot pick people from every state of the federation. I don't think that should really be an issue. Now, the Tribune newspaper, the Nigerian Tribune newspaper, impunity, lack of transparency, mad 2023 election, EU, says more than 100 campaign-related deaths, voter intimidation recorded during the February 25 poll, demands legal reforms to promote transparency, lists 6 areas of improvement. Yes, we all know that the last general election had its flaws. Of course, democracy is a work in progress. That is why we expect the government of the day to champion reform, just like former President late Umaru Yar'Adua did when he said the election that brought me to power were flawed. And as such, he took steps, set up the waste panel, and the recommendations of that panel are still very there, sitting somewhere gathering dust. I'm sure we need to revisit those reforms and perhaps observations from the 2023 general election so that we can continue to improve the electoral process in this climate. Now, the foreign newspapers quickly. Washington Post, shake-up of election rules is rejected. Justices dismiss legislative theory. It will have given state lawmakers vast power. Yes, the Supreme Court in the United States of America yesterday rejected what will have been a radical change in election law, dismissing the theory that state legislatures have almost unlimited power to decide the rules for federal elections and draw partisan congressional maps without interference from state courts. Of course, the fallout of Trump's rejection of the last general election in the U.S. and a number of Republican states trying to redraw the maps using partisan consideration. But the Supreme Court yesterday, taking that decision, the Constitutional Election Clause does not insulate state legislatures from ordinary exercise of state judicial review of such actions taken by the legislature. Of course, Chief Justice John Roberts Jr. read the lead judgment in a judgment 6-3. And of course, the Democrats and civil rights activists are praising the decision of the Supreme Court. Now, the Financial Times, and before I come to you, Putin admits Kremlin paid billions to bankroll Wagner's paramilitaries, force completely financed by Russia. Yes. Prigozhin in Belarus says Minsk loyalists bridle at crackdown. Ruben, Rufai, and Ayo.
I mean, but we all knew that Putin paid tons of money, to Wagner. Because I think when Prigozhin set up Wagner in 2014, at first it was denying the ownership. But one of the first major incursions of Wagner then was when they went into Donbass then. This was a couple of years ago before this fight started with Ukraine. Putin was pretty much sponsoring them. Putin pretty much made Prigozhin, and that's why they say the monster has come back to bite him. Like I said before, Prigozhin was Putin's chef. Putin loved his food. Prigozhin actually served Putin and President Chirac of France when they came to eat in one of his restaurants. Then Prigozhin was given the rights, a contract worth billions of dollars to be able to supply food across schools in Russia. In fact, there was a scandal as regards Prigozhin supplying substandard food that led to dysentery of students in Russia then, and it was a big scandal in Russia. So Putin pretty much made him, and that's why Putin should deal with the monster he has created today. How he deals with that, that's his own problem. I think I want to come, and we should also be careful on the African continent as regards Wagner. Like we're talking yesterday, I hear Wagner even has military contractors in more countries than I thought. In fact, in the countries they mentioned Cote d'Ivoire and some other countries in West Africa. So they are pretty much everywhere that we know. Even I think Nigeria too was mentioned. So we should be careful as hope we are seeing all of this. Moving on to the story about the World Bank. I think the World Bank has just vindicated.
Well, the Buhari administration rejected idea of soldiers of fortune. Never engage them to the best of our knowledge.
But we don't know what I mean.
Private military.
They are good private military contractors, but we don't know.
They are also soldiers of fortune.
We don't know what is going on. All we should just do, we should be careful. We can see what Wagner is doing in Central African Republic. We can see what they are doing with Russia as regards gold in Sudan. As regards this, I think the World Bank has just said what we've been saying. It is incumbent on us to be able to give the palliatives quickly for the people. And I'm seeing a story here that Joe Ajero's home was raised by fire. I just hope he's well and his family is well. I mean, Dr. Abati is a member of, if we can reach out to him and know the state of things, we reach out to him this morning.
All right, very quickly, I just wanted to touch on a story that had come in earlier, but we didn't have an opportunity to touch on, which was the Lagos State embarking on vehicle ownership verification. FG imposes it on the front page of the New Telegraph. Other newspapers have taken that story. Annual fees on vehicles, proof of ownership certificates. And it's important to note that it is embedded in the National Road Traffic Regulation of 2012. But also embedded in that, in Section 73(1)(6), is that the Commission shall establish and maintain a central database for vehicles and drivers for the Federation. So beyond collecting the 1,000 Naira fee annually, can they also implement the other parts of that provision?
For proof of ownership.
For proof of ownership.
So you have to be proven every year that you own that.
Can we have a database? Okay. Because we often talk about our challenges with the data. In terms of traffic management, being able to sanction offenders, we need a database to be able to catch people and use technology in road traffic management.
Okay, two quick things. Today is Eid al-Kabir, as you know. But I saw one surprising story from the National Center for Disease Control. The last time we were talking about NCDC was during COVID-19. And NCDC is just coming up with a statement warning people that they should avoid sick rams for Anthrax. Sallah. That sick rams may have been brought in from northern Ghana or from neighboring countries because there is a case of anthrax in northern part of Ghana. Okay, even if you want to give that advice, is it on the eve of Eid al-Kabir, when families will have bought they are rams, that you are giving that particular advice. So whoever is in charge of that Center for Disease Control now should learn to be more proactive and give these advisories, when it is appropriate to do so, not on Sallah Day. That's when you will be telling us that don't eat sick ram, don't bring ram from Togo or Northern Ghana, or don't bring from Niger. No, it's too late. But my only consolation, nobody can stop me from eating ram today. Once they cook the meat very well, you roast and put maggi and
you roast
and onions, there will be no anthrax. It will go smoothly.
No, but Ruben,
not a health advisory.
I'm expressing my own personal.
No, but Ruben, if you can identify a sick ram, avoid it.
Okay,
it's an advisory.
I know nobody will kill any sick ram. But if you cook it very well, it will be fine. I'll give you feedback tomorrow.